أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا وحبيبنا وحبيب قلوبنا محمد المصطفى الهاشمي القرشي الفاتح الخاتم وعلى آله وصحبه حق قدره ومقداره العظيم. We begin this exercise attesting to the faith there is no deity worthy and servitude to be worshipped except Allah Tabaraka wa Ta'ala alone. All praises, venerations are due to His esteemed being, whom out of His infinite mercy, compassion, made it possible for us to witness this day and this night. May Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala grant us the blessing of this day and this night as well. And may He accept our prayers as well. Last week we stopped at where Maulana Alhaji Ibrahim was admonishing us on putting our trust in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. إذا علمت ذاته إذا تكون راضيا حكم الإلهي كل وقت باقيا. Today inshallah we are continuing from where we stopped last week. Maulana Alhaji Ibrahim says, الله الله يا عباد الله 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 يا عباد الله إذا طلبت مطلبا عدمت فضيره يدري وما دريت الله 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 يا عباد الله 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 يا عباد الله يدفع ما يضر لطفا منه يدفع ما يضر لطفا منه لا تتهما إلهنا فتخذل الله 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 يا عباد الله 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 يا عباد الله لو يعلم الإنسان ما الرحمن يلقى الشرور ضاحكا إنسان الله 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 يا عباد الله 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 يا عباد الله. مولانا Alhaji Ibrahim says, إذا طلبت مطلبا, whenever you seek for something or whenever you seek for a request from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you pray to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a very long time for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you something, adimta, and you don't get that particular thing you are praying day in day out for, you are crying and pleading to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and begging Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant you that particular thing you are crying for and craving for. It's not a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love you, or it doesn't mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't hear your prayers, or it doesn't mean Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala didn't answer your prayers. What does it mean? Maulana Alhaji Ibrahim said, فَضَيْرُهُ يَدْرِي وَمَا دَرَيْتَ. Perhaps that thing you are seeking for comes with afflictions in disguise, comes with agony and tribulations in disguise, but you don't know. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, فَضَيْرَهُ يَدْرِي, He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knows the dangers involved in that particular thing you are you are praying for. You don't know what it is. You don't know what comes after you have gotten that particular thing. You don't know the aftermath of that thing. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the knower of everything. He knows you, and He knows what is hidden in your heart, and He knows what that thing will cause for you. I mean, the harm that thing will cause for you. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, is 100% aware, and He's 100% aware of its dangers involved. وَمَا دَرَيْتَ. He knows whilst you praying day in, day out, morning, afternoon, evening, don't know. Since that is the matter, then it means you should be patient, and you should know that it's for your own good. Never put it in your mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't love you. Never put it in your mind that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not answering your prayers. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves you. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala hears what everything, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has heard your prayers, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has answered your prayers. But for the love, for the extreme and infinite love Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has for you, He wants you to be protected. Due to that, He doesn't Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will not give you that thing in order to harm you. You as a human, you see it to be something good, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the knower of the unseen, and you will be harmed when given that thing. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want you to be harmed. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want you to fall in crisis. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doesn't want you to go through pain. So He is not giving you in order He's not giving you for your own good, not for any other thing else. In the Quran, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Surah Al-Baqarah, the popular ayah, everybody knows it. عسى أن كتب عليكم القتال وهو كره لكم عسى أن تكرهوا شيئا وهو خير لكم وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو شر لكم والله يعلم وأنتم لا تعلمون. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala made war or battle compulsory on the disciples or companions of Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam, knowing very well they don't like it. And He said, fighting has been made obligatory for you. وَهُوَ كُرْهٌ لَكُمْ. Though it's hateful to you, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made it compulsory on you. You have to go. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, to make it clear to human being, it's not everything that you see to be good that it is good in reality, and it's not everything that you see to be bad that is bad in reality. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the most wise. He said, Asa an takrahu shay'an wa khayrun lakum. You may hate a thing, although it's good for you. وعسى أن تحبوا شيئا وهو آه، شر لكم. And you may love something, although it is evil for you. So in everything, when you remember, and at the end of the verse, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, Wallahu ya'lam wa antum la ta'lamun. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, knows, and you, humans, human being, human beings, don't know. Since that is the case in everything, have a certain conviction, have a total belief that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware and He is in control in every situation, under any circumstance. Just have this in mind. Remember, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is watching, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is aware, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala knows the best, and He is in control. When you have this in mind, always you shall remain at peace. Then Maulana Al-Hajj Ibrahim, yes, continue saying, explaining the above, is throwing more light to the above line. إذا طلبت طلبا علمت. And he said, يدفع ما يضر لطفا منه لا تتهما إذا خنا فتقتلا. يدفع ما يضر لطفا منه لا لطفا منه. He, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he deters what is dangerous from you, human being. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deters it from you. Deters it so that you be protected. You'll be protected. He deters it so that you be safe. He deters it so that you be safeguarded. He deters it so that you will live happily and harmoniously, so that you have a better living. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala loves us. Let us appreciate it. He does it out of his tenderness, out of extreme love. Lutfan minhu. He does it. He detests things in order not to harm his slaves, out of the extreme love, out of the infinite love he has for his servants. Let's appreciate this love. Let's give thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this love. Because of that, because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala deters dangerous things in order not to afflict us, out of extreme love and affection and mercy. Due to that, we shouldn't rely on the apparent things we see and then have and say bad words to his exalted being. We should never do that. That's why Maulana Al-Hajj Ibrahim said, لا تتهمن إلهنا فتخذلا. Therefore, don't accuse our Lord. Don't accuse our Lord. Don't say, why Allah, why didn't you give me this? Like the way the kuffar or the apostates do. Why, Allah, why didn't you give me this? Allah, why always me? Why me? This is kalimatul kufr. Whoever says this is a sign of showing notoriety to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's a sign of retrogression. It's a sign, it's a way leading you to misbelief. It's a way leading you to misbelief. To say, yeah, Allah, why didn't you give me this? Did you create yourself? You never created yourself. Did you know how you live this world the way how you lived and you are still living right from your birth till date? You never know. When you put food in your stomach, in your mouth, do you know how it gets to your stomach? Do you know the processes it passes through before getting down into your stomach? You see, you hear. Do you know what it takes for a one to see? All these benefits Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you just because you have requested for something, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, out of his infinite love, knows that that particular thing you are requesting for is not good for you. For that matter, he is not giving you that thing for your own good. You are asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you are using impolite words to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You are accusing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something you are seeking for and you've not gotten. Never do that. You are not the Lord of yourself, and you didn't create yourself. So be warned. Never do that. Never accuse Allah as the kuffars do. For when you do that, لا تتخذ من إلهنا فتخذل أي إن اتهمت إلهنا ستخذل. Otherwise you shall be abandoned. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will leave you with your affairs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will leave you with what to cry your own cry. Since you have grown wings and you think you have the guts as accuse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for something you are seeking from him and you didn't get, you have the guts to accuse Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will leave you with your affairs so that you see whether you will be able to grant yourself what you are seeking for, or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant it, will grant you, or whether you are the controller of your own affairs or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the controller of your affairs and all affairs. So be humble in seeking something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be patient in seeking something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Be steadfast towards your prayers and have faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in under any circumstance, and accept any result in good faith. Remain a believer always. That's how you get salvation, and that's how you will attain eternal, ephemeral, and eternal peace. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us understanding. Maulana Al-Hajj Ibrahim Anyas continued saying, and this line in particular, I love it so much. Wallahi. He said, لو يعلم الإنسان ما الرحمن يلقى شرور ضاحكا إنسان. لو يعلم الإنسان ما الرحمن يلقى شرور ضاحكا إنسان. Maulana Alhaji Ibrahim Anyas. He said, لو يعلم الإنسان ما الرحمن. If a human being, if a human being knows ما الرحمن, who the merciful one, Allah is, if human beings should know the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the meaning of the mercifulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, the effect of the mercifulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, how the mercifulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is, if a human being should know that, or if human being knows that, Allah, 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 Allah. He said, يَلَقَ الشُّرُورَ ضَاحِكًا إِنسَانُ. Human being would face, or human being would have been facing shurur, jamu of shar. Human being would have been facing tribulations, afflictions, was smiling. Why? Because he knows where the thing is coming from, and he knows the source. Since he knows where the thing is coming from, he is rest assured that ease and harmony will come from the same source. Where the thing came from is the same place that happiness comes from. Where the afflictions came from is the same place that relief comes from. It's the same place that richness comes from. It's the same place that knowledge comes from. It's the same thing that everything comes from. So he's okay. He's okay. Afflictions come from this, from that source. Likewise, happiness comes from it. Since afflictions have come, I'm patient, hoping that happiness will come afterwards, hoping that ease will come afterwards, and it will come. That's why Maulana Alhaji Ibrahim just said, if human being knows the mercifulness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, he would have been laughing whilst facing whatever he's going through. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is the one controlling all affairs. Is the one in charge of all affairs. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala does everything the way he wants. So human being will be smiling, hoping for the best. Or human being will be smiling for Allah, and accepting it in good faith, the type of test Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given to him. It's a test. And he knows that it's not from any other place but from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He knows. Since he knows that this thing is from my creature, this thing is from this test, and this affliction is from my creature, this test and this affliction is from my nourisher, this test and this agony I'm going through is from my is from the one who loves me more than any other thing else, who loves me more than everybody, then I'm accepting it in good faith, because he shall never let me down. He knows that with certainty, and he will smile. If all of us, if all human being knows this reality, all of us will smile no matter what we are going through. Maulana Alhaji Ibrahim said in another qasida, he said, فَسِيَّانُ إِنْدِي مَا يَسِرُّ وَمَا يَبْكِي. No, I've forgotten the starting. إذا كانت الأقدار من مالك الملك فسيان عندي ما يسر وما يبكي. I don't know whether I've gotten it right. My scholars should forgive me if I've had it wrong. إذا كانت الأقدار من مالك الملك, if al-aqdar decrees are from the king of kings, or the owner of everything, fasiyanu indi ma yasru wa ma yubki. What makes a person laughs and what makes a person uh, cries is the same to me, because it's from the same source, and that source is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as said by Imam Hassan Sisi, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us Allah. Allah, Imam Allah, Bijay Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. And may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the capacity, the ability of understanding this reality in order for us to attain eternal peace, and in order for us to enjoy Allah, and in order for us to know Allah. I will stop here. Whatever I've said right is a favor from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and wherever I've erred is from my weakness, is from my ignorance, is from my lack of proper revision. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive me, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all beneficial knowledge, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us our heart desires. أخوكم وطويلبكم إبراهيم موسى صالح، إلى وقت اللقاء. يفعل الله ما يشاء. والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.